Similar to the videos from earlier today, we're going to cover what are the best LMGs inside Black Ops 6. And we do have 3 LMGs, which is the PU-21, XMG, and the GPMG-7. Now, there's not a lot of options here. So for LMGs, recoil is important because these will be used for long range. And obviously, we want to be using these kind of similarly to an assault rifle. So let's take a look at the recoil patterns. So in this game, there's a lot of S-shaped curves from the looks of it, and this is kind of going up and then to the right. Not as quite as harsh as some of the other weapons, but let's see if we can control this. It's not too difficult to control. We'll try that again after this reload obviously takes place, and as you can see, the reload on these guns is going to be relatively slow as well. So basically, before and after the kind of kick up to the right, is a little bit hard to manage in between that time, but pretty much on either side of that kick is quite easy to manage the recoil of this gun. Next up, we've got the XMG, which is basically the XM4 version of the LMG. Let's take a look at the recoil pattern. So as you can see, it goes up and to the left very, very steadily. No kind of kicks, no kind of curves or anything like that. So it's going to be very steady to control the recoil. The fire rate is pretty steady as well. It's not like a super fast fire rate weapon. So as you can see here, you can control this gun very, very easily. Probably even more accurate than some of the ARs in the game as well, actually. So that's quite useful. And obviously keep in mind, this is the base weapon, of course, so there's no attachments on this one whatsoever. And last but not least, we've got the GPMG-7, which is the final LMG in the game. And this has got the fastest rate of fire out of the bunch. Now, this one kind of reminds me of that UMG from back in Warzone 1 from Vanguard. It's not that hard to manage, actually. It does have a bit of side-to-side kick. But the fire rate is really, really quick on this gun. I'm going to assume it's round about close to 900 rounds per minute. Because it does feel that fast. Or it could be faster than that, actually. But in terms of the vertical recoil, very easy to manage. But obviously, as you can see, there's a bit of a side-to-side spread there. Quickly jumping over into true game data, we're going to look at the TTK charts for all of these LMGs. I've also added in the AK-74 because this is probably the best AR in the game in my personal opinion when it comes to recoil and TTK balance. So we just want to see how that fares against some of the better options for assault rifles. And as you can see here, all the LMGs beat the AK-74 in terms of TTK, and the AK-74 is one of the better TTK guns as well in the game when it comes to assault rifles. So as you can see here, especially out to range, you're going to be getting better TTKs with an LMG, which is expected, by the way. You're also going to get better bullet velocities, I'm assuming, as well, when we take a look at those. But as you can see here, the PU-21 is the fastest TTK across the board. Then we do have the XMG, which is the lowest recoil option. And then we do have the GPMG, which is the fastest fire rate option. But again, like I said, the TTKs are great for these guns, and they kind of always will be because they're slightly slower moving, so there is that con there. But like I said, the PU-21 does have the fastest TTK even out to range. But I do think the XMG is probably going to be a popular choice because it's got the balance there for recoil and time to kill. Moving into some quick stats here before we move on as well. We do have the fire rates here. So like I said, the GPMG was the quickest, and the XMG is slightly faster than the AK-74. Mag sizes obviously are going to vary on these weapons because you can extend the assault rifles, and the LMGs are obviously going to have larger mag capacities. So as you can see here, that is what we have. The GPMG does fire the fastest, but also has the smallest mags. Keep that in mind. Then we've got reload times here. The XMG is the slowest out of all of them. But obviously the LMGs do have slow fire rates. But then the LMGs, surprisingly, in terms of bullet velocity, are very similar to the assault rifles. I expect them to have slightly better bullet velocity. Now, the AK-74 is actually one of the worst assault rifles for bullet velocity, so this is comparing it to that. So the bullet velocity is not great on these LMGs. That's a bit surprising to me personally. I thought they would have been a lot better. ADS times, obviously the ADS times on the rifle will be better, but there's not much of a difference between the LMGs at all. Movement speeds, again, there's not much of a difference between the LMGs here, but they're not far off the assault rifles, to be honest. So that's standard movement speed. Sprint to fire speeds on everything but the XMG is actually not too far off the assault rifles. I mean, they're about 40 milliseconds faster, slower even. than the assault rifle. ADS movement speeds, again, it's going to be slower, but they're quite close in terms of the LMGs alone. Sprint speeds, again, quite close for the LMGs alone. Swap speeds will be a lot slower on the LMGs, as you can see here. So when it comes to the LMGs, there's only one I would recommend to stay away from. Obviously, if you're choosing LMGs in general, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into when it comes to movement speeds and things like that. But what's quite good with the PU21 is that you can have a fast mag option here. So you get fast mags, you can go all the way down to 30 round mags, which is actually pretty cool here. And it only cons your magazine capacity. So if we take a look at the stats, the only thing it does is a con to your magazine capacity, which, to be honest, that is what it pretty much does for you. But you get a whole bunch of bonuses for this, and especially for multiplayer, I think you need that extra movement. So I would recommend the fast mags one. So you get 45 rounds, you can use it basically like an AR, and then you can play around with the attachments. Obviously, if you're using the gunfighter wildcard, you can put loads of attachments on this gun to make it feel really good as well. So obviously that will work as well. But like I said, I do think the fast mags on the PU21 will be very useful. The next one is the XMG. The XMG is the most well-balanced version. Like I said, it's got the lowest recoil as well. So at range, this is probably going to be the best choice, especially if you like LMGs. Again, you can have a lower mag option. It does give you all the bonuses besides a con to magazine capacity, which is obviously what you're taking here. So that is something you can do. There's obviously a 75 round option, but obviously you're going to get the best movement benefits with the 50 round mag option as well. So this is what I would personally recommend, building it more like an assault rifle if possible. And then obviously there's other attachments you could use to get faster movement speeds with these guns as well. But like I said, those are the two options. I do recommend staying away from the GPMG because it's got a super fast fire rate, a small mag. You need to extend the mags to even make it viable, and the TTKs are not actually any better than the other two weapons anyway, so you might as well stick to one of these two, because the fire rates are going to be better, the damage per mag will also be better as well. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.